Gentlemen, we are coming at you live from episode 56 of Life on the Rocks with your host, Connor LaRocque. Today's featured guest in the hot seat is one of my mentors, Mr. Mark Locke. How you doing, brother?
Doing fantastic. You?
Oh, I'm doing excellent today. For anyone who doesn't know who Mark is, Mark actually has his own TV show called Business Rockstars, where he's interviewed billionaires, some of the world's top minds in industry today. He's also an author, best-selling author at that, as well as a branding expert. So the first question I always like to start this off with is, what got you started in business, Mark?
So it went back to my paintball days. I played professional paintball. I was one of the top in the world. Won over $300,000 in cash prizes in high school while traveling and competing. And I just started to look around and realize, these guys, I'm in high school going into college, and these guys are like in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're doing this with me, traveling around the world, and it was cool. But I didn't want to be in my late 20s where I'm at now and still only be doing the same thing over and over again. The money was great in high school, but not for the vision that I had and that I knew I was capable of. So I went on the internet. I was searching for things that I could do to make more money. I always wanted to be successful financially and in whatever I did. And so I was on the internet. Luckily we grew up with internet, YouTube and Google and stuff. So I'm on there searching, and inevitably I came across Tony Robbins, right? If you search for enough things about success, confidence, motivation, things like that, taking your life to the next level, achieving your full potential, Tony Robbins is going to come up at some point. So inevitably I came across him. His message, his content, it resonated with me so much. And he led me down the path of personal development. And then from there, I came across amazing mentors like John Assaraf, Jay Abraham, Brian Tracy, and a bunch of other people that have played a huge role in my success in life and in business. So really, that's what it was. I always wanted to be successful. It was either going to be go and be the top sales guy in a company where I could make money. But then after studying enough stuff, it was like, well, you can build somebody else's asset, or you can build your own. So at some point, you should build your own assets instead of somebody else's. So I was like, hey, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to fail early. I'm going to start my own business.
Right.
And so, 5 years later, here we are. I figured it out.
Absolutely. No. And walk me through this for a second. So what got you into branding specifically, like considering yourself a branding expert? Like, I know there's different niches you go into, marketing, sales. How come branding?
When I was in the online marketing landscape and I was looking at what a lot of people were doing, I started to realize, I was like, what is the key foundation of the success behind a lot of these people? Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, Lewis Howes, Tony Robbins, a laundry list of dozens and dozens of people I could name that you might know some of these people probably, or a lot of them, because they've got really well-known personal brands, tons of followers. They're at all the conferences, speaking on stage. They got the book launches, the shows, and everything like that. And I was like, it's interesting. As I began to join their masterminds, invest in their one-on-one coaching if they had it, or consulting, go to their seminars, get their books, eventually have my own show where I'm interviewing people like you're doing, extracting wisdom from them and talking to them off camera. I started to really understand how these people are succeeding online. And I realized, although they're all over here talking about different things, whatever they do, books or speaking or podcasting or consulting or masterminds or workshops or digital courses or webinars or email marketing, they all had maybe similar, maybe different strategies and tactics to how they were succeeding online. But the foundational part that very few people ever really talked about and spoke about was personal brands.
Right.
They're over here. They're constantly testing. They're constantly changing. Is it a webinar? Is it email marketing? Is it chatbots? Is it retargeting? Is it SMS text messages? Is it speaking? What is it? Book launch, free book, just pay shipping. They're all testing different strategies and tactics and approaches to succeeding online. But the one thing that always stayed the same, the foundation of all of their business success, was their personal brand. They became the authority on a subject. They became the most well-known person in their industry. And as a result, they spoke at all the events. They were able to do the successful book launches. They were able to partner with anyone they wanted. They built a tribe and a following. So even when they were going to sell something or invite people to buy something, they didn't even have to spend a lot of money on marketing because they already had a following on social media and via email list. And so I realized quickly, looking at their businesses, the foundation success behind so many of the online people crushing it wasn't that they used pixel retargeting, wasn't that they used exit pops and tripwires and upsell sequences. It wasn't any of that shit. Because I know guys that are doing complete polar opposites, but they're crushing it. But they have personal brands. They're the top authority and go-to person in their space. So it doesn't matter if Gary Vee chooses to launch K-Swiss shoes because people are going to buy it. Doesn't matter if he does wine library or a book or an agency or whatever. People are going to buy it. People are going to follow him. So I realized personal branding was the key foundation to really succeeding online. You know, people don't go on social media for business brands. They go on there to connect with people. So a personal brand as the extension of the business brand is the inception. As soon as I see something from a business, I know their intention is to sell me. It's an advertisement. But if I see a person, then the personal brand can be the extension of the business. Then people don't go on social media to buy things with a credit card. They go on social media to consume content. And so even if a business brand puts out content, we still know it's just a bait and switch. They're putting out content to buy something, to get something. So the real secret is not using social media for your business brand. It's using it for your personal brand to get people to know, like, and trust you and go, oh, here's a person. Who is this? What could it be? Oh, it's a powerful message. Oh, it's a valuable piece of content. And that's the beginning stages. I try to use the example. If you've ever been to Costco here in the States, you know, Costco, you can go in there and buy a bunch of stuff at bulk for cheap prices. And there's the little old lady who's cooking up the food and doesn't say a word. And you're walking by with your cart and you smell the sample and you go, that smells good. And she goes, try it, as many as you want. And that's it. And you try it and you go, wow, that's really good. And you add it to your cart and you keep walking. And then there's the annoying salesman guy who's got the microphone earpiece and he's like, hey, I got the blender, I got the frying pan, the nonstick pan, come check it out. This is amazing. It's the best. Hey, you in the blue shirt, come over here. And you're like, oh my God, who's this guy? It's the same thing. It's a free sample, but one of them is so obvious he's trying to sell you. And people hate to be sold. They love to buy. And so if you're obviously using content to sell people, if you're obviously running ads online like everyone else, and if you're using your business on social media and not your personal brand, you're not going to succeed as well. And that's why I see a lot of people struggling because they haven't built a personal brand and they don't know how to use content as the foundational value-added sequence to eventually get people to buy your products and services. So personal branding is really the foundation to succeeding online. And big businesses pay influencers to help build their business and products and services because big businesses don't usually have a personal brand.
Right.
Some do, some don't. Some use cartoons and characters like the Geico Gecko, the General Insurance, Flow with Progressive. And so big companies either use a character or pay for endorsements like Kobe Bryant or LeBron James or a celebrity or an influencer. Now there's influencer marketing. Big companies pay influencers to promote their stuff like First Form, protein supplements and fitness supplements with Andy Frisella. It's like $150 million a year business. His whole company is built on the backs of influencers. Now, obviously, there's a whole lot to it, how he's built that business, but influencers was the foundation. Other people's personal brands and influence was the foundation of how he built his business. Hey, you like me, I rep First Form products and services and I'm in great shape. You should use First Form as well. He got all the biggest fitness influencers and personal brands to endorse First Form. And inevitably, the ripple effect of tens of millions of people finally started to buy it. And he's built a $100 million company off the backs of other people's personal brands and influence. So it's a huge trend. It's red hot. You got to get in now. We're in the middle. I think we're in the middle. I don't think we're at the beginning stages anymore. It's not like you could just get in and instantly you're going to, build a following because there's nobody else doing this. Everyone's doing this. Maybe not in your industry, but globally it's really popular. So building a personal brand, we're in the middle stages. If you don't get in now, I think in a couple years, it's going to be too late.
It's going to be too saturated. I want you to talk to me about that. So we see a lot of brands online. Everybody, again, they're right hooking. They're trying to buy my crap online. Do you find that there's a lot of backlash with it being that, let's say, for instance, so people are looking for social validity. It's like, oh, he's got 100,000 followers. They must be legit. But then you look at the backstory, the person could be a crook. Like, talk to me about that for a second.
About specifically if somebody has a lot of following, but they're a crook? I'm confused.
Not a crook. Does it make it more legit? So online, right?
Yeah.
So I guess like in the States and in Canada, if someone has, let's say, 100,000 followers or a million followers, you're like, oh, this person must be legit. But then you look at kind of the backstories of it. Do you find our industry, just industry in general, online, there's a lot of kind of BS associated with it? You find that a lot of people are just pumping out stuff and they have no backlog, they're not making money, but they put up that kind of front and that image.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a huge part of it, right? A lot of people put out only the good side of their life, the good side of
Right.
business. But that right there provides an opportunity for people to understand that if that's the initial reaction is like, oh, well, for some, not a lot, right? A lot of people are sheep. They're just going to follow the herd and they're going to just not pay attention and not be skeptical. But it provides an opportunity to show the bad things that go on as well as the good. And it's kind of like the cliche, be authentic, be transparent. I think at the end of the day, if you can share the ups and the downs, I think that's the key to a good personal brand. If you are ever going to post about success, then you have to post about it in a way where it's like, even though I'm on this yacht and you see me consistently with the mansion and the cars and the traveling, just 10 years ago, I was sleeping on my friend's couch.
Exactly, yeah.
Just 5 years ago, I was in the hospital almost dying because of this. And it gave me this new insight and I started doing this. So if you share the adversity and you say, you see me with the success, but many of you may not know just 10 years ago, I was struggling and I had this, and I understand how you feel if you're still in that place because I've felt the same way. And it wasn't until I found that you could just follow this process, that you could learn this, that you could do this, that you could change how you look at things, you could change your story, you could change whatever. Circumstances don't define you, right? You could just now you start to become inspiring and motivating rather than just a pompous jerk who's like, look at me, I'm successful, follow me for this reason. People don't care if you're in better shape. People don't care if you're more successful. People don't care about any of that stuff unless they feel like you care about them and you're going to humbly show them how to do it as well. People are happy to invest in you to show them how to do it. The ones that aren't probably will never be successful because they have a story that to invest in someone who's achieved a result to shorten my learning curve, that's a waste of time. Yet they still invest in going to school.
Exactly. No, absolutely.
They follow the old model versus the new model. I never liked school because why would I invest in a teacher who's not living the results that I want, right? It's like a fat fitness coach. You would never invest in a fat fitness coach. Why? Because they don't have the results, but they're telling you about how to get them. It seems a little ass backwards. Why would I invest in going to school? I did, which is why I can confidently say, having gone through the school system, why would I invest in getting education from people who have never actually done the thing they're teaching? Most of the time, some have. But even then, they're not living the life that I want. They don't have the lifestyle. They don't have the relationship. They don't have the body. They don't have the finances. They don't have the impact. They don't have the following. They don't have the influence. They don't have the respect. They don't have any of the things I want. So some people tell themselves a story that when they see someone on social media who has it all, why would this person charge money to teach me how to get it? Because of their time. Their time is now the most valuable thing. It's not money. It's not even you giving them money for their advice. It's you getting access to their time. They spent time to create a course. They spent time to write a book. They spent time to put on an event. They put time to do whatever. And if people understand that if you can find someone who's authentic, you can find someone that you resonate with, you can find someone that you can follow and see through the cracks if they're a legit person, if they're a legit business owner. And if they are, and there's an opportunity to invest in having somebody shorten years or decades of time so that you can get a result faster than it took them, there's nothing better in the world than that. And I think that's the key to personal branding. I've built a business. I've built something. I've achieved something. And you want to do that too. I will show you the struggles that I went through. I will show you how I achieved my results. And if you get value from that, awesome. If not, feel free to not follow me. And if you want to invest in one of our higher level ways to help you accelerate even faster, we can do that as well. That's personal branding in a nutshell. There's always going to be scam artists. There's always going to be people believing different things. You just have to do you, right? Like if you want to build a personal brand, you got to get out there. You've got to shine your light. I just did a post a minute ago about how you never want to be in the middle. You either want to be loved. When you're loved, you're also hated. but you never want to be in the middle where you're safe and everybody likes me. That's just not realistic. Not everyone's going to like you. And if you try to get everyone to like you, then you'll never get people to love you, because you're constantly, the people that could love you, you're just playing safe, and the people that could hate you, you're playing safe. So you're spending energy trying to not be hated so that you can be liked, and therefore it's hard.
Or go ahead, yeah.
I was going to say it's hard to be loved if you just try to be liked.
No, it's so true. And you're not a true version of yourself. You know, I always use the example on stage with Mother Teresa. I'd say, you know, even someone like Christopher Hitchens writes a book saying that she didn't do it. She did it for her own selfless need. So it doesn't really matter. I think at the end of the day, you just got to be true to yourself, like you said, and that's what makes you feel whole. I want to talk, since you're talking about the education system. So obviously there's still so many students, I see it, they all just get funneled through the system. Let's say you have 500 jobs.
It's usually because of their parents or because they don't know better. They don't know that there's another path. And if they do, and they see people like us who are making money online successfully, and they see that, they might feel at some level that I invested in someone else's course and it didn't work, or someone else's thing and it didn't work, so this won't work either. Or maybe it's, but the school system is more trustworthy. That's like saying the government's more trustworthy. That's like saying the medical system's more trustworthy. Man, I just had to go to I had to go to the hospital because I got sick. Yeah. Dude, I was there for a week. It cost $120,000. 1 week. Canada. 1 week. Yeah. I know Canada, right? 1 week cost $120,000. If that happened to someone else, I have insurance, so I didn't have to pay that much. I still had to pay a lot, but because I'm young, so they never expect young people to get sick. So if you do, it costs a lot more, your premium. But if you don't have insurance, bro, a family would get crumbled because of insurance, because they didn't have insurance. And so it's like, dude, the medical system's broken. They don't have your best interest in mind. They don't even tell you how much it costs. At the end, they just send you a bill. I would mess with them because my dad's in health insurance. I was like, how much is this going to cost? And they're like, I'm sorry, sir, we can't tell you. I'm like, this is going to cost me $100,000 for this x-ray, for this needle, for this injection, for these pills, for the ultrasound, for all the shit you're doing to me. It's going to cost $100,000. Sure enough, it was $120,000. And they're like, I'm sorry, sir, we can't tell you. That's a scam. It's $1 trillion industry. Education is a scam. It's $1 trillion industry. I don't want to say it's a scam. I shouldn't say that. The formal education system that we once trusted to produce qualified, certified degree students to go out and to get a job, that system no longer exists. You used to be able to write a check, get a half-ass education for a degree, and then go get a job that pays you above minimum wage. And they showed you statistically over 65 fucking years, statistically in 65 years of age, the college system ends up making you on average $1 to $2 million more over 65 fucking years. So most people invest in the college education system because in 65 years of life, it finally made you more money than had you just not gone to college and kept a regular job. But isn't that a bunch of load? You and I both know it's like, dude, come on, man. I graduated school and within 5 years was able to make 7 figures on my own, doing my own thing. Had I stayed in school, like I graduated, but had I gone and got a regular job and just got the formal education and got a job with that degree, I would, even though my skill sets allow me to make millions of dollars in my late 20s now, within 5 years out of school, had I got a job, my potential would have been constrained like a turtle in a shell, and I'd only be making 80 grand, 100 grand, because the company won't let you make more. So, dude, I could rant all day. I just am so pissed that so many people are blinded to their potential because no one ever took off their blindfolds. It was their parents. It was the system.
Well, we make a joke, though. We were both like, I seen your photo from when you were in high school, just a delinquent, right? Like in a good way. You post that on stage. It's the thing with me. I was a C student. Yeah, totally. Exactly. And then we come out and you go the opposite way. Everyone's like, oh, no. But then that's one of the hardest things, I think, with life. So I want to transition this in. I know we can go on and we can digress all day, but this is important. So one of the hardest things within our industry, I find, is you keep, like, as a branding expert, someone always says you got to find your niche or your niche. So how do we start with that? Like, if I was to train kids or students or somebody say, well, get into this so you can go ahead one day and monetize your skills, how do I start that? How do I find that niche?
So it's a great question. It's extremely easy. There's two different things. One, you can start a personal brand just because you want to use. So there's two types of personal brands. One is a personal brand that is just developed as a strategy to grow a business or a source of income. I'm the top real estate guy in Orange County. I'm the top, chiropractor in all of San Diego. I'm the top whatever. And you just only position yourself as, I'm the top chef, I'm the top real estate guy. And every piece of content you create is just, everything you post, everything you create is just around how you're the top real estate guy, the top whatever fitness coach, the top chef. It's just there as a strategy to create value-added content to monetize people. That's fine. I'm not saying one is better than the other. That's one. It's just developed to make you to be an extension of the business. Number two is a personal brand that's all encompassing. It's very clear what your mission and your vision and your values and your beliefs are, what your passions are. It shares your personal side and your professional side. So it's almost like a personal brand and a professional brand, right? So one personal brand is just for your profession, just for your career, just for your business. The other is both. Hey, here's me with my family. Hey, here's me traveling. Hey, here's things that I like to do. I like to play tennis on the weekends. Hey, here's this. And people go, yeah. Hey, here's the sports team I follow. Hey, I don't give a shit about sports. Hey, here's the book I'm reading. Hey, here's how I make money. Because then people go, this guy's amazing. This guy's a regular human. I know all the people in his life. I feel like I know him. And they feel like that's the key. I feel like I know him. I feel like I know her. That's the key right there, is you're trying to develop a personal connection. And it's difficult to do if you only do the business personal brand, where you're just talking about business and all the ways that you can make money. I like the personal brand where you share passions and your values and your beliefs and your mission statement, because that's where you really get people to connect and feel like they know, like, and trust you, respect you, understand you, feel connected to you. So those are the two different types. Your question, though, did I answer your question, or do I need to get more pinpointed?
No, I think that pinpointed. I think that's what you see a lot of time with the school system, right?
We're talking about the niche too, though. We're talking about the niche.
Yeah, they're like, okay, like they try to put you into boxes: engineer, accountant, lawyer, doctor, salesperson, whatever. So that was just something important I'm always seeing. The other thing I wanted to go on, crossing over with that, if we're talking niche. So if I'm selling online, if I'm somebody I want to, I get people to buy into my stuff. I think one of the most difficult things, what happens if you're selling a high ticket? So let's say, for instance, someone's selling something for $10K, like that. How do you cross someone over when they don't have that funding to invest in that education? Because obviously, in Canada, we have OSAP. That'll give you your loan for school. But how do you get that? So if you're going to close somebody or bring them into your funnel, so you can help them and then help them make that type of money or have that influence.
So you want to have what's called an ascension model. And I didn't now that I remember the original question was about niching down, and the real secret is solving a problem. It's very simple. Some of the best marketing advice ever: go where there is already a hungry audience. It's very simple. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't try to come up with a product. The very first thing that you want to do is just identify where is there a hungry audience. So when you're going to create a niche, if it's for the professional side or the personal side, like I was explaining the two different types, either one of those options, you want to be solving a problem. You want to have a message that you stand for. Like Gary Vaynerchuk is like a broken record. He says the same 12 things over and over again. But if you resonate with that, then those are great reminders. And so he's very rarely throwing out tangible action steps for you to be like, all right, here's how I'm going to grow my business. He's thrown out the basic foundational shit that a lot of people need to hear, which is why he has a lot of following. And he's very controversial. You either love him or you hate him. You usually are in the middle. And so, you have to solve a problem. The problem he's solving is a bunch of entrepreneurs. They don't know what it takes to really be successful. So he comes in and he slaps them upside the head and says, hey, if you're a millennial, if you're a Gen Z, maybe you're even older than that and you're following me, you need to do these foundational basic things. You need to tie your shoes. You need to brush your teeth. You need to work hard. You need to be patient. You need to tell yourself positive stories, regardless of your parents. Don't blame it on them. But he tells you the foundational basic shit, basic stuff. But a lot of people need to hear that. I have never seen him throw out, and I know he has it. Clearly, he's built it. But he's not throwing out tangible steps to be successful. He's throwing out the foundational ingredients. So my point is, you got to solve a problem. Grant Cardone, he's throwing out real estate and sales. Those are his two main things. So if you're solving a problem, that's the first thing. So then you look online. Where are there lots of problems? Well, one of the big ones is businesses don't know how to use social media and the internet to generate leads. So a great business or personal brand is, I'm the top I'm the top guy in San Diego for helping chiropractic businesses generate leads. So you niche yourself down. I'm the top guy in San Diego to help all chiropractors generate more leads. San Diego, chiropractors, right? It's like you're narrowing it down very specific. Yeah. You don't want to be the guy who helps all businesses generate leads with social media. You want to narrow it down to a region and to a type of business. I help just dentists generate more leads. So when you're going to build a personal brand, you want to niche down and get very, very specific. So that's the first key.
That's one of the biggest things. I think that's been my fault. And I mean, you've seen that. I've known you now for almost 2.5 years. It's just, I want to do it. Everyone comes out and he's like, I want to do it all, but you have to start on something so you can start building it from there. I think that's probably one of the hardest things, Let's cross over for a second again. So going back to the monetization part. So is it coming off of that, just focusing on it? Because I think that's what I see. So for instance, one of my friends and good friend of mine lost his job, and it's one of those things where he has the ability, has the smarts and intelligent to go and become an entrepreneur. But again, it's that fear. How do you get them to cross over into the entrepreneur skit? So take that leap, with all the fears and stuff to be able to.
It's finding out if they're even a right fit. One of my mentors told me, I said, what's the best advice you'd give to a millennial who's wanting to start a business? We live in this new generation where so many millennials want to do their own thing if they don't want to work for a business. And so my mentor said, the best advice I would give a millennial is to never become an entrepreneur.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I said, wow, that's totally not what I thought you would say. And what he said was, the reason why is because 99.9% of people don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. They'll start, they'll fail, they'll quit, they'll give up, and they'll just let that story follow them around forever. My parents were right. My wife was right. My husband was right. My friends were right. I'm not good enough. I couldn't do it. I should have kept my job. I should have stayed in my career. I shouldn't have started on my own. I shouldn't have taken out the mortgage on my house, right? I shouldn't have built up the credit card debt. They were all right. I was wrong. Boo-hoo, woe is me. And then they go back to their job, and the rest of their life, they're just playing it safe because that one time they took a risk, it didn't work out. That's the kind of person that shouldn't be an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur is hard. Being an entrepreneur is never easy. There might be a big payday at the end if you sell your company, or if you are intelligent and you build up money, you make money, you keep money, you invest money, and you manage money. If you do that, you can be a success. And you don't even have to be an entrepreneur to do those things. Make money, keep money, invest money, manage money. If you can get to those stages in life and you can make enough money to keep enough money, to invest enough money, to then manage it and make sure that it's paying you passive income, anyone can be successful. So I think the first thing is reverse engineering the vision you have for your lifestyle and what your purpose is. I think purpose is an overplayed thing, but I think if you want to be a great husband, a great father, a great mother, a great friend, you want to impact society in your community, you want to be significant and respected and make a certain amount of money to do the things that you want, figure that out first. Do you want to have lots of time? What does that mean? The weekends available? Because a job's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you're good. An entrepreneur's forever. It's not 9 to 5, you're off the clock, it's forever. And so, what you're really doing when you start as an entrepreneur, and even forever, it's kind of like when you're once a parent, always a parent, right? It's not even after 18. A parent will tell you, and any parents watching, once a parent, always a parent. Even when your kids are like, our age and they're past 18 and they're in their 20s, 30s and older, always a parent. Guess what? Once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. If you build a business, even if that business runs without you, you're probably going to be thinking about all your businesses that you have. So it's like, no matter what, at the end of the day, I think most people aren't built for entrepreneurship, and if they're not willing to cut the cord, I don't think they're the right fit. If they're like, yeah, but what about? You're not meant to be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur jumps off of the building and says, I'm gonna make my fucking parachute and my wings on the way down. As cliche as that sounds, an entrepreneur doesn't sit back and go, yeah, but what about this possible scenario? But what about, and if they do, then they say, yeah, but here's how I'd fix it. Here's how I'd solve it. Here's how I'd get creative. Here's how I'd get resourceful. Here's how I'd find a way. Most people who are not entrepreneurs, they go, yeah, but Connor, what if I don't make enough money in my first couple months? But Connor, what if people don't want to buy? But Connor, I hate sales. But Connor, I hate rejection and failure. Go back, get your job, stay there, play safe. You're not meant to be an entrepreneur, but you can make enough money keep enough money, invest it, and manage it, you can still become wealthy. It's just going to take a little bit longer because you don't control the reins of your finances. At a career, you never do. Unless you're in sales, you have a little bit more control. But most people aren't meant to be entrepreneurs. Your question earlier about high ticket sales, you want to have multiple opportunities to sell people. Just having a high ticket offer, which is the hot cliche thing, let me help you with your high ticket offer. Shut the fuck up. That's so stupid. Most people, you can't scale high ticket offers. You cannot scale high ticket offers. High ticket offers are great in theory because immediately it generates cash to then reinvest in a scalable business using digital products and services that don't require you to constantly be involved. When you sell a high ticket offer, you've got so much fulfillment. If you sell $100,000 or $20,000 package, you got a lot of fulfillment you now need to do. Most people don't have the ability to sell high ticket offers. You need to have an ascension model, free content, free lead magnets, free nurturing funnel. And then above that, low, medium, and high ticket offers. Low, medium, and high ticket offers. They don't have to be yours. They can be affiliates. They can be affiliate products and services. They can be partnerships and joint ventures, host beneficiaries. But you need to have low, medium, and high ticket offers. So
I think that's one of the most important things, just because I see that all the time. It's like, well, you see people always pressing the high ticket offer. Well, you got to get to the high ticket offer. It's like, well, get people to buy into you first. You know what I mean? Before they don't even know. And it's like, here, pay $10,000 for a product or service, right? Yeah. No, it's one of those things. So crossing over though, like I know I'm talking about a bunch of random stuff, but this is just to extract knowledge again. So something that's important from you, Mark, I know you've done over 500 plus interviews. You've interviewed billionaires. Being somebody
I'm at 1,000 now.
1,000.
Over 1,000.
I should have did my research more then. I should have seen the newest article come out. But no, I want to ask you, like, as an interviewer, so I was interviewing a guy in Canada. You probably don't know. His name was Stephen Paikin. He's a veteran, been on air for 25 plus years. What are some of the things you do as an interviewer so you can really engage, that person across from you to make sure that it's obviously engaging for your audience, but you take away little nuggets and pieces of things? Like, you obviously have to have good questions, but like, you see good interviews, someone that's just boring, you're laying back in the chair, but you see some really good ones, they're engaged, they put it together well. Like, what are some things that you do and implement while you're on Business Rockstars?
One of the first things is you got to have enthusiasm. Anybody who's on television will tell you enthusiasm is the key, because no matter how successful, how good looking, how intelligent, how articulate you are, if you're boring, nothing can fix that. And so you have to learn how to show up, right? You have to show up in a way where it's like, hey, and you gotta, so people are like, man, I'm watching because these guys are vibing. These girls, they're going back and forth. It's like, if you have that energy, if you have that passion, enthusiasm is from the Greek root of entheos, which is godlike. And so if you can learn to be godlike, to have enthusiasm, you can transfer that into the audience and into the viewer. And if you can do that, that's where the real key comes in. Unless somebody's just like, oh, Larry King. Man, Larry King is a legend, but he's boring. And so it's like, hey, so Connor, what about? And you're like, okay, no, look, mad props. You're a legend. You're one of the best in the game. Millennials don't listen to Larry King for a reason. That's a different generation. And so it's like, man, so much respect. That's no longer relevant. If you started over from nothing and you were not Larry King and you were just a random guy who was the exact same guy, but no one knew you, they'd be like, what am I doing? What am I listening to? Because they want someone like Howard Stern, who will be relevant because he's crazy and controversial. They want someone like Joe Rogan, who's crazy and controversial. And so, again, back to my point, you can't play it safe. You got to be one or the other. People love Andy Frisella from First Form. He has his podcast, MF CEO, motherfucking CEO. And so he's tatted up, he's big, he's yelling, he's in your face. And so guess what? You listen to that and you either go, whoa, this is not for me, or fuck yeah, you're like, this guy's for me. And so Andy Frisella, he does not play in the middle. You love him or you hate him. Howard Stern, Joe Rogan, you love him or you hate him. I think Larry King has played the game long enough. Most people love him because of what he is. But I think if he had to start all over, he's just very monotone, simple. And so, again, so much respect, not taking anything away from that. He got started 75 years ago, so he got in at the right time. If he had to compete in today's world from the very beginning, I don't know, bro. And so nowadays with social media, the internet, you're a nobody until you're a somebody. And once you're a somebody, it's very easy. He's a somebody, so it's very easy. So my point is, you got to be enthusiastic. You've got to be passionate. You've got to be controversial. You've got to have a show that stands for something. You can't just be like, we're going to ask questions about business, life, and entrepreneurship. Get the hell out of here. You need to have a niche. This podcast, you'd rather have a podcast that's only for 10,000 people on the planet, but they all listen to it and they love it, than to have a podcast that has 1 million people, but it's just, and again, 1 million people would be great, but in theory, good luck getting there if your podcast is for everyone, because only people that started 7 years ago, like John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneur on Fire, he got in at the right time. There was no one else doing a podcast on just entrepreneurship, life, and business. Good luck starting that over again today, not being that person. Because guess what? There's literally millions and millions of podcasts. And the secret to a podcast is to niche down. The secret with a personal brand is to niche down. The secret with starting a business from scratch is to niche down. Find a small area where there's just nobody dominating it. There's just no one that I know who's the go-to lead gen for chiropractors. Like, it's like, find that, be that guy. Be the person who has a podcast that's just for people 25 to 30 struggling with this, wanting to achieve this. That's what it's got to be for. Hey, this podcast is not for 99% of you out there. It's only for you if you're this type of person. Because then you're going to be like, oh, here we go, baby. A podcast just for me. Yeah. There's already enough people out there talking about all the other shit. You need to narrow it down. That's my best advice. Be enthusiastic, be passionate, be controversial, and niche your podcast down. It's the only way to survive nowadays.
So here's one of the last questions, and going right off of that, you're talking about being enthusiastic as hell. This is, I like changing gears a little bit, but I think that's a huge piece of advice. Okay, so let's go for an instance. Take someone like Jordan Belfort. So in his thing, obviously he comes out, sales. You're like, okay, yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street guy. So I want to ask you a branding question towards that. So he always promotes, be enthusiastic as hell. You see him on stage. I saw him live. He's good. He does a really good job. His content is on fire. But can he ever actually recover? Do you think, like, as a personal brand, do you think he's going to have the ability to actually get people again to kind of build that trust with him after he screwed all them? Like, even I'm not calling the guy out or anything, but I met him backstage at an event. I was kind of like, you just feel the vibe towards the gentleman because of the past and whatever's happened, right? And that's just natural instinct.
I would say that there's always going to be a chance to bounce back, because there's always going to be someone, some tribe, some community of people that are going to resonate with you no matter what. But I definitely think that sometimes when you make a big mistake like he made, it's hard to bounce back from that. But I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, you can build a following of people. I mean, you look at Logan Paul. He uploaded that video on YouTube and the internet. It got like 50 million views in a couple days, about the person out in the Japanese jungle who hung himself, and he filmed it and recorded it and uploaded it to 50 million people saw it. And then he got the whiplash from everybody in the world, everyone in the world, about that, because he's such an influential person that when he posts anything, the whole world knows about it and can spread it to the whole world. And so he bounced back. Everyone was like, your career's over. You're going to lose all your following. You're going to get your YouTube account shut down. Guess what? He's too big to fail. His YouTube account can't get shut down because he generates tens of millions of dollars for YouTube in revenue. They're like, we're not going to shut down our highest paying person on the entire internet platform. Sorry, guys. We'll give him a little slap on the wrist, but that's the best we can do. So he bounced back from that. And that's kind of one of those things where you're basically saying, my values and beliefs are completely different than yours. That's a fast way to get people to say, peace, I'm never going to trust you, follow you, or respect you ever again. Guess what? He's got more followers now than he's ever had. And all of his fans pretty much, well, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of them still follow him and are diehard. His engagement's higher, if anything, because that got him to be infamous in a bad way. But guess what? People already have forgotten about it. And so I think that you can probably bounce back from almost anything. But yeah, I mean, ideally play with integrity is the best. I was going to say play it safe, but don't play it safe, but play with integrity. He wasn't playing with integrity. So it becomes very difficult to go back to someone like Jordan Belfort and be like, I trust this guy. He made a couple mistakes, but I trust him. Guess what? As soon as there's someone else who provides the same service, who doesn't have that reputation, you're going to go with them. Make sense?
Exactly. It makes sense. And that was something I really wanted to hit on, because talking about being controversial, and you don't want to play in the middle, you want to play on both sides. So it's interesting you take someone like that, played on the one side, this crazy rock star type of gentleman, and then all of a sudden now you could see he's trying to kind of make amends and recover, but then it's like everybody looks at him, he's losing endorsements. He was at an event I was at, and everyone was pissed off that they brought him in, because he had some big hitters like Gary Vee, they had Stephen Forbes, and they're like, I don't want to have my name associated with that person, right? So that was a super important question. But one of my last questions, Mark, I want to ask you to kind of not cut this short, but something for you. So, I mean, you've had access to write some of the greatest minds, I can say. Even you've interviewed people like Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez. Who do you plan on bringing in next? Like, I know we talk about Tony Robbins. Like, who's somebody you want to sit across from and kind of drill them on a number of different things?
There's a lot of people. There's so many. There's so many incredible people on the planet making a huge difference. There's a lot of people I still want to connect with and interview. Even though I've interviewed over 1,000 people, dude, there's over 1,000 billionaires. So it's like, even if I interviewed all the billionaires, which I didn't, I've only interviewed a handful. But it's like, yeah, man, there's a lot of incredible people out there. Somebody that I really want to connect with is definitely Tony Robbins, which we had in the books. We just had to reschedule. Oprah Winfrey would be an amazing one and will be. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, I think he'll be amazing. So yeah, all of these people are a reality. It's just a matter of timing, right? If it takes 5 years, that's fine. 5 years from now, then amen. That's what the stars align with. I'll be bigger, better, more prepared, more ready, more successful, more connected, more leverageable. And so it's just a matter of time. There's so many people I want to connect with, but Tony, Oprah, The Rock, those are a couple that come to mind.
One last question, right off of that though. What's your advice? Yeah. Or go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, what's your advice? No, 100%. What's your advice though to people that, obviously you and I, we believe that we can connect with those type of people, but the average person would say, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to meet Dwayne Rock Johnson. Like, what's some of your advice? That's the last one I want to end with right there.
So for the people out there who they want to connect with whoever they want, how can they go about that?
People, they got to build the brand. Like, is that?
No, the personal brand is the long-term approach. So it's kind of like simultaneously. You've got, there's an analogy I'll share: planting seeds of hay versus planting seeds of apple trees. And so when you plant seeds of apple trees can take 4 years, 5 years, 6 years before it's really even fruitful and starts growing apples. But even though it takes that long, when it does start to grow apples, it'll grow apples all year, all seasonal, all the time, for almost forever. And so when you finally do have one whole field of apple trees, you're set for life. But you also you don't want to wait around for 5 years before you can cash in on the fruit. You want to also be planting seeds of hay. When you plant seeds of hay, you can have a field of hay within 60 days. And then you can consume all the hay, but then you have to plant all new seeds. And in 60 days, all the hay will grow back. And then you can consume the hay. So you want to have seeds planted in a field of hay and seeds planted in a field for apple trees. So the apple trees is the personal brand. That's your long-term retirement plan for connections, opportunities, money, investment deals that no one else knows about. All of that is the long-term approach. Guess what? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, the time's going to go by anyways. I'm either going to see you in the same spot and I'll be so far up the mountain you won't be able to see me, or you'll be climbing up the mountain too. But the difference is 99% of the population only ever plants seeds of hay. That's a job. They go to work, they get a paycheck, they live off their paycheck, they barely keep enough money to, Lord knows, mama told me save it for a rainy day. Don't invest. I don't know how to invest. I heard people lost their shorts in 2008 from investing. I'm not going to invest. That's the mindset of people that only plant seeds of hay. Make money, save it. Make money, save it. And there's only so much to save. I wouldn't dare invest it. I don't know about investing. And then if I do invest, I'm going to lose it because I don't know the next part, which is managing it. So my advice is plant seeds of hay, plant seeds of apple trees. Meaning seeds of hay would be sending out gifting strategies, sending out a gift. I use interviews to connect with big people because big people know the power of attention. Attention is the new commodity. You can invest in commodities like coffee beans, orange juice, gold, silver. There's all different types of commodities you can invest in. And commodity trading can be lucrative but dangerous. I like investing in basically the potential to give somebody attention becomes a commodity that rich people and wealthy people and celebrities know about. The Super Bowl can charge $5 million for a 30-second commercial, 10-second commercial, if that. $5 million for a 10-second commercial. And they sell hundreds of millions of dollars worth of advertising spaces. Why? Because there's 1 billion people watching the Super Bowl. So attention can be turned into cash. And so wealthy people, successful people, celebrities, entertainers, they understand, businesses understand attention is a commodity. So if you can build attention around you or provide attention, most celebrities will trade their time is a commodity, for attention, which is a commodity. Cash is a commodity. So you can trade attention for celebrities' time. You can trade attention for cash. You can trade time for cash. You have to look at all of these opportunities. Most people just look at money. Money. If you don't have money, can you get attention? Because if you can get attention, you can exchange it for money. So what I do is I have a show and I can get attention on that show. And then I can reach out to any celebrity and say, I'll get you 500,000 views just on social media within this period of time. Plus, it's going to be on television, radio, hotels, airports, airlines, etc. Now, I know the first thing people say is, I don't have a TV show that goes all over. Great, you don't have to. Connor knows, I taught him this trick. You can use social media. I'm not going to tell the whole secret. You can use social media to get attention. And if you know how to spend money on posts the right way, you can get as much attention on a post that you want. That post could be an interview with a celebrity. And so once you've got one interview with hundreds of thousands of views, you can then leverage it to go to other people and say, hey, look, I interviewed Mark Wahlberg. It got 500,000 views. I'd like to do the same thing with you. I know you're busy. So when is the right time for me to talk about your charity, your new movie, your new book, your whatever that you'd like to get 500,000 people on? Because guess what? When a new book, a new charity, a new movie, a new whatever launches, celebrities always get pimped out on PR. They go on Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, Larry King, Good Morning America, and they talk about that because when the timing is right, they want to use attention to talk about their thing. And so guess what? If you can be somebody who knows how to get attention for people at the right time, you can get connected with anybody you want.
I think that's actually huge right there. And that honestly, I can tell you guys firsthand that is an absolute game changer. Mark showed me that trick. And not even trick, he showed me that strategy. And that's one of those things that I've noticed with yourself in the industry, Mark, is that you're a complete strategist at what you do. And again, we talk on Gary Vee, great guy, gets everyone motivated, but where's the tactics and strategies behind what he's doing in a lot of cases? You've been able to do that, and I haven't even went in full with you. We went to some of your seminars and things, and it's honestly changed my game from Canada in a small city of Sudbury to be able to know how to scale and do all these other things. So for anyone out there right now, take a look at Mark's website, shortenthegap.com. Mark on Instagram is mark.lack. Mark, is there anything else you'd like to say to my audience or anything else out there you want to leave someone with to check you out? Because, I mean, give it 5 years plus. I'm honored to call you a mentor of mine, but 5 years plus, I'm going to see where you're at right from now, just killing it up here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. It's the compounding effect, right? I'm in my 5th year of business right now, and my apple trees just grew and are fruitful. But it happens fast. I've been to, if you've ever been to an apple tree vineyard, whatever they're called, an apple farm, orchard. I went to one with my fiance and my family, and it was like thousands of apple trees. Bro, I'm not even kidding. There was millions of apples. And so my point is, guess what? It only takes 30, 60, 90 days, 100 days for those apples to all grow. And all of a sudden you have 1 million apples. It happens so fast. You just need that one phone call, that one partnership, that one opportunity to blow you up. That one season where the trees finally are fruitful and they all get fruitful at the same time. I'm in that season of my life right now. I'm very grateful and appreciative for that, but I've grinded for half a decade just eating, shit to get to where I'm at, so to speak, right? I'm grateful for the journey, and that's part of the process of the journey. My lesson for you to leave you with is plant seeds of apple trees, play the long game, play for the marathon of life and business. Don't get caught up in the, if I achieve this short-term goal, then I'll be happy. No, give yourself the feeling right now. Be happy now, be grateful now, feel significant and respected and loved and cared about and worthy now. Feel it now, and you will achieve the goal faster. I'm going to butcher it maybe because I'm just trying to think of it off the top of my head, but there's an old saying, ego says, when everything falls into place, then I'll find peace. But the Spirit says, find peace and everything will fall into place. And so my advice is, don't think that making more money, achieving bigger goals is going to make you feel better, feel more at peace, feel more significant and respected. Because as soon as you let the positive emotions inside only get validated from external circumstances, that's when you lose the game. Because as soon as you get an external circumstance to validate how you feel, yeah, they validated it. Then it dwindles down and you lose it. And you constantly live in this responsive, I need other people to validate. I need other people to validate. I need material objects to validate how I feel. So if you can give yourself the gift of being aware that you're always just allowing yourself to feel it, you don't need external circumstances, people, or material objects to let you feel a certain way. Because when you feel positive and grateful and significant and worthy and confident now, then the things you want will happen and manifest faster. So play the long game. Know that you will get all of those things down the road. You will be a millionaire. You will have all those experiences and financial freedom and the vacation and whatever you want for yourself and for your family and your loved ones and contribution and philanthropy goals. You will have all of that, all of your wildest dreams in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. You'll have it, but you've got to give yourself those positive feelings now and today so that you can then move towards those things faster. Because if you let your limiting stories and your limiting beliefs hold you back, you'll never get those things. So divorce your story that's holding you back. Feel those positive things now, and all of your wildest dreams will happen if you focus on playing the long game and making long-term investments. The best investment you make is in yourself.
There it is. Mark, that's been huge. You've done an exceptional job, my friend. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. Episode 56, special episode guest, first one online. Thank you for your time, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Check him out online. Mark.Lack on Instagram.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. You crushed it. I know we're still live right now. I can see it.
Are we still? Oh, we're still. And live, Brad. Wait, and broad. Wait for it.
There we go.
Is it still live?